and Phil Kalinko?
There's a lot going on, and not everyone's telling you what needs to be told. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first thing this week that we've had is we had CPI numbers coming out, 3%. Now remember, the Fed is trying to target 2%, and at this rate, they're going to get there. We might even get disinflation at this rate if it continues this rate. It was 4% the month before, it went down a full percentage point. The people who know a lot more about the stuff than I do still maintain that there's still going to be a 25 basis point hike coming out this month or next time. However, with that said, you can't argue that it seems to be getting closer to their target of 2%. We're now at 3%. But if you look at it on a year-to-year basis, PPI slowed down 0.1% year-on-year in June from 0.9% in May, which is lower than expected. And this is the smallest pace since August 2020, when we had all of that COVID stuff. So that's the first bullish thing that we saw this week. And that was really why we saw the dollar depreciating and the stock market pumping. And if you have a look here at the stock market, looking at it 7 days, this is NASDAQ, S&P 500. You see here that almost everything across the board is green, and the darker the green, the higher it's up. So you got quite a lot of dark green, a very lot of normal green, and quite a little bit of red, not so much of red. And you can see technology continues to be the leading sector here. The NASDAQ really doing incredibly well. Just this week alone, Google up 4%, Microsoft up 1.7%, Oracle up 3.8%, Adobe up 6% this week. CRM up 9%, Netflix up just under 1%, and so on and so forth. So the technology side is really pumping. If we look at the technology on the electronic side, NVIDIA, and after an incredible run, still continuing to rise, up 7.5%. On my portfolio, I'm up 1,000% on this. I even sold some about 2 weeks ago just to get some profit. Yeah. I sold some to get some profit, and it's gone up another 15% since I sold it, because how can it continue going up? And it just does. So we've just had an absolutely incredible week. Even finance, which has been in so much trouble, and again, as a result of these CPI numbers, finance is up. JP Morgan 4%. I mean, other banks over here 2%, 3%, 2%, 7%. So I mean, a lot of stuff happening over here, and even retail hugely up, everything except for Walmart a little bit down. Sorry about that, crypto dream, but that's the story. So stock market huge, but the big news as far as crypto goes is that we've got this ruling saying that XRP is not a security. Now, this is where you're not getting the full story, but I want to start with the bullish case, and I want you to understand the positives of this, and then I need to tell you something that no one else is telling you about this that's really, really important, and possibly what some people are starting to realize now, and maybe why we've seen a bit of a crypto pullback as a result of the last thing I'm going to show you. But the first thing, for those of you that don't know, there's been this court case between Ripple and the the Fed, right? And that's been going on for 3 years at the moment. We finally had a landmark decision, a ruling. The federal judge in New York ruled that Ripple Labs XRP token is only a security when it's sold to institutional investors, but not when someone goes onto Coinbase, as an example, and buys the token. So this means that it's also going to happen that Ethereum will not be declared a security. Solana will not be declared a security by consumers, right? But it might happen with institutional people, but by consumers. By this, if Ripple isn't, we can safely say that Ethereum isn't, and that Solana isn't, and most of the others aren't. And that's why we saw the pump that we saw. If you have a look over here, here's Meta Lawman saying XRP as a digital token is not in and of itself a contract, transactional scheme that embodies the Howey requirement of an investment. So they were saying here that the last criteria for the Howey test is that the person buying, did they reasonably expect the money to be reinvested for a return? And that was not met in this case, according to this judge. And this is a proper ruling. Now, the thing with these rulings is that it does set legal precedent that can be relied on. and it's almost as if it's law. So now anyone at any stage, including Coinbase, is currently in this big fight with the Fed, they can come out and say, hold on, because of this ruling with XRP, now there is a basis in law that's proven, and that's a precedent, and therefore how can we be considered a security, and so on and so forth. So this is bullish news, and this is the reason that we saw the pump that we saw, right? And it's a big win. It really, really is. But then the hard part about it, and what people are not telling you, is that this is not the final decision, in that it can still be appealed. So this wasn't the highest court. This is a high court, but it's not the highest. So the Fed can still, the SEC can still, sorry, I keep saying the Fed, the SEC can still appeal this decision, and I'm pretty certain that they will. And then once that appeal has been heard by a higher court, if it still maintains this court's ruling, then it is as bullish as everyone says it is. But for now, the ruling is in the favor, and more positive than negative for crypto by far. And it's a great first step, but it's not the final hurdle between Ripple and the SEC.
Sheesh. Guys, that is the general. I was gonna say, yeah, that's the general gist of what I've been seeing from a lot of content creators as well. So if you guys are ready for Philip to drop the actual alpha, which is the information that their favorite influencers have not told you, you guys know what to do. You guys already know what I'm gonna ask. Guys, you gotta smash that like button. You gotta hit that subscribe. Gotta follow. We got all the fucking content for you. Yes, Philip, bro, drop it. What happened, bro? What's the other thing?
Yeah, so that's the one thing. For one, the SEC, I'll just read it directly. For one, the SEC still has the ability to appeal this decision made by the judge. Secondly, the final word on crypto assets regulatory classification can come from Congress, even with this ruling. Even if this ruling was the final ruling from the highest court in the land that could not be appealed, Congress can still make legislation that will be higher than a court ruling. So it's not ironclad now. It's a step in the right direction. It's a big step in the right direction. However, the SEC, and knowing how they are and the way that they just go to court with everything, they are going to appeal this. And when they do, there's going to be a pullback on all these tokens, the gains that we've seen. So just having a look at the gains that we've seen this week, because remember, this is part of the market update. This is on the weekly view. So if you have a look, Bitcoin sitting pretty much where it was, it's down 0.16%. Ethereum, 1,933, up 3.5%. It was actually over 2,000 yesterday. But here you can see XRP is up 54% on the week because of this ruling.
Past 80 cents, I think, at one point, yeah?
Yeah. I think it even went higher. I think it actually went to 90, if I'm not mistaken. I saw it there around 80 something, close to 90.
Even Dogecoin people are making money right now, bro. Everyone's making money right now. If you're in the market.
Look, Solana was the big one, because Solana is definitely one of the darlings, and people are deeply concerned that Solana is going to be declared a security. So when this XRP thing came out, Solana was a big winner here as well, up a huge percentage. Let's just make this a bit bigger. But they're currently $28. And here you can see there was the ruling. They were $22. So they went all the way to just under 30. So they almost had about a 40%. If you actually bought the absolute bottom and sold the absolute top, which is impossible, there was a 40% rise as a result of this to Solana, because Solana is sort of like, you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then arguably Solana, BNB, those guys as the next one. So yeah, I mean, that's why you saw the big jump you did originally. But again, just be aware and be very aware that this, in my personal opinion, will be appealed by the SEC. And when the news comes out and people realize that this still has to go through another set of judges, then the prices will take a bit of a knock again for sure.
Damn. And when that happens, what happens after that, you think? Say it goes through and they appeal it successfully.
So then if they've got merit to appeal it and they find that they can be appealed, then it's another year. I mean, it goes to another court. They look at the judge. I don't know how it works in America, but I know over here it actually goes to a different court. So it goes to a higher court with a completely different set of judges if there is merit for an appeal. And then that court can look at all the evidence, and they can even call in previous witnesses, ask for more statements and more clarity, and almost have another court case. I don't know if it's it's the same thing in the States. If it goes to a higher court, I would imagine it does. I really would. And that can, it could take a few months before that court sees it. Then that court could need clarification. And, it could be a longer process. But it will be appealed. Whether it will be appealed successfully or not is the $1 million question that no one can answer.
Jeez, dude, I still can't believe all those numbers, bro. That is like the most pump.
This is weekly.
So long, it's crazy.
Yeah, how's that?
So Solana up. Static for anyone else? I don't. It's probably because your power went out, Crypto Dream. But if someone else is hearing static, please let that be known in the comments.
And if Crypto Dream's power went out, he might be in South Africa because that's where we have constant power outages. But yes, if there is any problem with the sound, please do let me know. But here you can see the bubbles on the week, really, really up, green across the board, with the exception of XEC, BSV, a couple of others, but most of them are looking green and some of them are looking incredibly green. Yeah, man, and that concludes your market update.
Damn, bro. Jeez.